Some lights burn too bright, too pure, to last in a world this cold. Melody Hoffman was 20 years young, her laugh a spark against the gray of Marion, Iowa, until it snuffed out on a frozen February night in 2024. I've known girls like her, trusting, soft, eyes wide with dreams. Girls who never see the shadows creeping close. She pedaled her bike through quiet streets, sang off-key to friends, loved a boy she thought loved her back, until he didn't. 9 months later, a jury would name her killer, but that winter, Melody didn't know her light was a target, or that trust could turn so dark. This is Echoes of Trust, the Melody Hoffman murder. And it starts with her shine. Picture Marion, Iowa, February 2024, a small town 10 miles east of Cedar Rapids, where snow dusts the sidewalks and the Nishnabotna River glints cold under bare trees. Melody Hoffman lived there, 20, a slip of a girl, 5'3", blonde hair spilling past her shoulders, blue eyes that caught the light. I can see her, pedaling her Schwinn down 7th Avenue, scarf flapping, breath puffing white, heading to her job at the Hy-Vee Deli, slicing ham with a grin. She was sunshine. Her mom, Lisa, told KCRG later, voice cracking, always humming, always kind. I've met spirits like that, too good for the gray, and Melody glowed even in Iowa's bite. She'd graduated Marion High in 2021. Cheer squad, not the star, just the girl who cheered loudest, then stayed close, working, dreaming small. I think about her days, serving regulars at Hy-Vee, texting friends about TikTok dances, her voice bouncing off key to Taylor Swift in her '09 Honda Civic. Melody was glue, a coworker said, held us together. Her apartment on 10th Street was a nest. String lights, thrift store couch, a cat named Muffin purring soft. I can hear her, giggling late with pals, planning a spring trip to Des Moines, unaware that winter held something colder than snow, something that'd steal her light fast. Love lit her up. McKinley Lewisma, 23, Hiawatha boy, tall, charming, a smile that pulled her in. I've seen sparks like theirs, fast, fierce, starting late 2022 when he'd stop by Hy-Vee, flirting over turkey cuts. By 2023, they were tight. Dates at Lyndale Mall, nights at his place, her trusting him blind. He was her world, Lisa said. She'd light up saying his name. But I know love's flip side, shadows behind grins, and McKinley's hid deep. They'd split by January 2024, messy, quiet, her moving on, him not. I feel that shift, trust turning sour, because Melody didn't see his eyes darken, or the plans he'd weave tight. I've walked streets like hers, felt the calm before it cracks, and Marion hummed steady that February. Melody worked her shift on the 16th, slicing, smiling, texted her mom at 6:42 p.m. Home soon, love you. I can see her, locking up, biking home under streetlights, wind nipping her cheeks, 20, alive, her light burning bright. She didn't know that night, February 17th, would be her last ride, that a boy she'd trusted would snuff her out, leave her cold at Lily Lake. I feel that ache. Rule's stab of what's lost, because Melody's shine was her strength and her doom. That light went dark, and what came next broke everything. Nights can turn fast, soft to savage, in the time it takes a heart to stop. On February 17th, 2024, Melody Hoffman's did, 20 years young, her breath stolen in a Marion, Iowa, dark that swallowed her whole. I've walked paths where trust leads to traps, and hers did. Lured by a boy she'd loved, McKinley Lewisma, 23, whose smile hid a blade. She'd pedaled home that evening, texted her mom, love you, then vanished into a plan so sinister it'd chill the snow around her. This is where Melody fell. bound, beaten, gone, and where 9 months of echoes began. Her light didn't just dim, it was torn out cold. Picture that day, Saturday, 4:32 p.m., Cedar Rapids Walmart, 10 miles west of Marion, fluorescent lights buzzing. McKinley Louisma stood there, tall, lean, eyes flat, pushing a cart with Dakota Van Patten, 18, twitchy beside him. I can see them, grabbing machetes, 2 pairs, $12 each, then gloves, black, rubber-gripped, items KCRG would later call tools of intent. Cash swapped hands, $38.76, no cards, no trace. Then, out they went. McKinley's silver Hyundai Elantra idling cold. I've felt plans like that, quiet, coiled, and this one tightened fast, aimed at a girl who'd trusted him blind just weeks before. I think about Melody then, 6:42 p.m., texting Lisa from her 10th Street apartment. Home soon, love you. She'd worked Hy-Vee till 5:30, slicing deli, humming, then biked home, blonde hair tucked under a hood, wind biting her cheeks. I can hear her, door clicking shut, Muffin meowing, maybe planning a quiet night, Netflix cat on her lap. But McKinley called, soft, urgent. Meet me, we need to talk. I've known that pull, loves echo, trusts hook, and she went, biking to Morgan Creek Park, 7 miles west, under a sky turning black. She didn't know his cart held more than words. It held her end. Morgan Creek Park, 8:15 p.m., trees bare, snow crunching underfoot, a lonely lot off Highway 100. Melody rolled up, Schwinn wobbling, McKinley waiting, Van Patten in shadow. I can see her, smile fading, breath puffing white, asking, "What's wrong?" He grabbed her fast, hard, paracord from his pocket, wrists bound tight. I've felt that snap, trust to terror, and her Apple Watch caught it. Pulse spiking, 120, 140, fighting air. They dragged her to the Elantra, Van Patten's machete glinting, then drove, her muffled cries lost to the wind. I hear her, pleading, soft, because love shouldn't tie your hands. But his did. I've traced nights like that, dark turning darker, Morgan Creek to Lily Lake, 20 miles southwest, a frozen shore near Amana. They stopped, 9:03 p.m., her watch peaking at 160, then beat her, fists first, then blades. I can feel it. Melody's scream cut short, paracord choking her neck. Autopsy'd say strangulation, blunt trauma, stabs after death. Sinister, prosecutors called it. Depraved, McKinley strangling, Van Patten slashing, staging her like prey. I see her fall, blonde hair splayed, blood on snow, 20, trusting, gone. 9 months later, a jury'd name it murder. But that night, it was just her end, cold and alone. That Hyundai peeled off, 9:27 p.m., her watch still, Lily Lake silent, Melody left in red-stained snow. I've stood where life stops, felt the hush, and this one screamed wrong. McKinley drove home, calm, gloves off, Van Patten quiet, machetes tucked away. She trusted him, loved him, and he'd snuffed her out, a light too bright for his dark. I feel that ache, Rule's stab of betrayal, because Melody's night didn't just end. It broke everything her shine had held. Her light was gone, and the shadows took over. Some finds cut deeper than the cold, truths you can't unsee, frozen in time. On February 18th, 2024, Melody Hoffman was 20, her body stiff in the snow at Lily Lake, Iowa, a glint of blonde against red that stopped a hiker's breath. I've walked scenes where life's snuffed out, felt the air turn wrong, and this one did, hard. She'd been a spark, a girl who'd pedaled free just hours before, now dumped, slashed, a light no wind could warm. This is where Melody's story broke wide. Found too late, but loud enough to wake a town and start a chase. Picture Lily Lake, Sunday, 8:17 a.m., near Amana, 20 miles from Marion, a frozen shore fringed with pines, snow crunching underfoot. John Kessler, 34, hiked there, boots laced, thermos steaming, looking for quiet, not carnage. I can see him, breath puffing, eyes scanning, then freezing, a shape by the water, half covered in drifts, blonde hair splayed like a halo gone wrong. I thought it was a doll, he told KCRG, voice shaky. Then I saw the blood. I've felt that jolt, normal to nightmare. And Kessler's hit, hard. Melody, face down, arms bent, red staining white around her. He dialed 911-823 AM-hands, trembling words tumbling fast. I think about that call, Kessler's "There's a body" crackling through, Iowa County deputies racing 15 miles from Williamsburg, sirens slicing the cold. They arrived 9:02 a.m., boots crunching, breath fogging, finding her, 5'3", hoodie torn, jeans soaked red, wrists raw from cord. I can see it, blood frozen in streaks, stab wounds gaping, throat bruised purple. Autopsied later say strangulation, then slashes, blunt force cracking her skull. Staged, a deputy muttered, like someone wanted us to look. I've known scenes that lie, and this one did. Melody's light snuffed, her body a riddle dumped in frost. Crime texts swarmed, 9:45 a.m., yellow tape flapping, cameras clicking, mapping her end. I've smelled that air, snow and death, and it hung heavy, 9 stab wounds, some post-mortem, cord marks biting her neck, her Apple Watch dead at 9:27 p.m. She fought, a text said. Pulse spiked before it stopped. I can feel her, Melody, kicking, clawing, 20 and fading fast under hands she'd trusted. Tire tracks cut the snow, shallow, fresh, a silver Hyundai's echo, deputies guessed, circling back to Marion. I hear that silence, lake still, pines whispering as her mom Lisa got the call. We found her, she's gone. I've stood where hope dies, felt a parent's world crack, and Lisa's did, 10:13 a.m., phone slipping from her hand. Not my Melody, she sobbed to the Gazette, not my girl. I can see her, crumpling, blonde like her daughters, while deputies sealed the scene, snow falling soft over blood. That watch told more, heart racing, then flat, pinning her last breath to Morgan Creek, 20 miles back, the night before. I feel that chill, Rule's stab of loss, because Lily Lake didn't just hold a body. It held a scream, a chase, a truth clawing free. That frost kept her, preserved her end, until Kessler's boots broke the hush. I've seen finds like that, cold turning colder, and this one burned, Melody's light snuffed, her trust a trap. Deputies fanned out, Marion, Hiawatha, Cedar Rapids, hunting tire tracks, a killer, a why. I can hear Lisa's wail echoing over that lake as the law closed in, slow but sure. She was found, but not saved, and what came next would tear the dark wide open. Her echo rang out, and the hunt was on. Grief can spark a hunt, turn tears to tracks that lead somewhere dark. On February 18th, 2024, Melody Hoffman's did. 20, found dead at Lily Lake, Iowa, her blonde hair blood-streaked, her light snuffed cold. I've seen loss ignite the law, felt it push past. Pain. And this one burned fast. Deputies swarmed from Marion to Hiawatha, chasing tire marks, a watch's last ticks, a killer who'd left her staged in snow. She'd trusted him, McKinley Lewisma, 23, her ex, and he'd betrayed her deep. This is where the chase began, where Melody's echo demanded answers, and the shadows started to shrink. Picture that morning, 10:47 a.m., Iowa County Sheriff's Office, radios buzzing, coffee cooling fast. Deputy Matt Klein took lead, 40s, gruff, eyes sharp, standing over Melody's file. 5'3", strangled, stabbed, dumped. I can hear him. Who does this? Voice low, flipping photos, her wrists raw, throat bruised, 9 stab wounds glaring red. Staged, he told KCRG, like a cover. I've felt that itch, wrongness you can't shake, and Klein did, tracing her Apple Watch. 9:27 p.m. flatline. Morgan Creek Park pinged 20 miles back. I see it. Snowy tracks, a Hyundai's tread, leading from Lily Lake to a killer's door. I think about that watch, Melody's pulse racing, 160, then gone. Digital proof she'd fought, lost. 9:03 p.m. at Morgan Creek. Deputies hit it, 1:15 p.m., February 18th, boots sinking, breath fogging, finding cord scraps, blood flecks, a bike tire's groove. I can see Klein, kneeling, gloved, bagging paracord, red-stained, her Schwinn locked to a rack, abandoned. She met someone, he said, someone she knew. I've tracked clues like that, small, screaming, and these yelled her last ride. McKinley Lewisma, ex, Hiawatha address, silver Elantra in his drive. I feel that pull, trust's ghost, because Melody's light led straight to him. Hiawatha, 3:22 p.m., 5 miles north, a quiet duplex off Emmons Street, snow piled high. Lewisma opened his door, tall, lean, eyes darting, Klein and 2 deputies looming. Where were you last night? I've watched suspects squirm, seen the lie before it lands. And he did. Home, alone, voice flat. Didn't see Melody. I can hear Klein press. Silver Elantra, yours? Lucima nodding, slow. Yeah, so? I feel that net, tightening fast, because tire casts matched, snow still clung, and his gloves, black, peeked from a trash bin. We need to talk, Klein said, cuffs glinting. 4:01 p.m., he was in custody, Melody's blood whispering loud. I've sat in rooms where truth bends, felt the air choke, and Lewisma's did, 5:17 p.m., interrogation, Cedar Rapids PD. I didn't do it, he said, hands fidgeting. Dakota pushed me. Van Patten, he's crazy. I can see Klein lean, file open, watch data glaring. 9:27 p.m.? She's dead. Your car's there. Lewisma cracked, small, quick. We met her, yeah, but I didn't kill her. I've heard that dodge, half-truth spilling, and Klein pounced. Walmart receipt, 4:32 p.m., machetes, gloves. His card declined, cash paid. Sinister plan, Klein hissed. Hers? I feel her, Melody, hanging there, trust torn as Lewisma sank, eyes blank, caught cold. That room locked. Lucima booked, 6:53 p.m., first-degree murder, kidnapping, Melody's echo ringing loud. I've seen chases turn, clues to chains, and this one spun fast. Van Patten nabbed, 8:12 p.m., Cedar Rapids, machete in his room, Kimpton too, conspiracy whispered. I can hear Lisa sobbing to deputies. Why her? As Klein bagged the Elantra, cord, gloves, her blood faint on the seat. I feel that ache, Rule's stab of justice starting, because tracks in the snow didn't just find a killer. They broke a mother's world wider. Her trust led them here, and the law wouldn't stop. Love can blind, Cloak a shadow till it strikes. For Melody Hoffman, it did. 20. Her trust in McKinley Louisma. 23. A spark that lit her world until he snuffed it out on February 17th, 2024. I've seen charm hide rot, felt its sting, and his did, festering long before that Iowa night. She'd loved him, pure, bright, while he carried a past that bruised, a heart that twisted her faith into a trap. This is where we dig, into the boy she trusted, the man who killed her, and the shadows that explain why her light had to die. Picture Hiawatha, Iowa, 2018, 5 miles north of Marion, a quiet town of split levels and snow. McKinley Louisma was 17 then, tall, wiry, a grin that pulled eyes at Hiawatha High. I can see him, dribbling a basketball, flirting easy. Son of Haitian immigrants, mama nurse, dad gone early. He had charm, a teacher told KCRG, but a temper too. I've known boys like that, bright till they're not, and his flipped fast. 2019, a shove in the hall, a girl's wrist, bruised. No charges, just whispers. That shadow grew, quiet, coiled, waiting for a spark like Melody to light it wrong. I think about 2022, McKinley, 21, meeting Melody, 18, at Hy-Vee, her deli counter a stage for his smile. She fell, hard, fast, dates at Lyndale Mall, kisses in his Elantra, her trusting him blind by spring 2023. But I felt love sour, seen its cracks, and his did. He'd yell, a friend told deputies, grab her arm if she laughed too loud. I can hear it, his voice sharp, her shrinking, texts from June 2023. You're mine, don't forget. She stayed, 19, soft, until January 2024. A breakup, messy, her pulling free, him clinging tight. I feel that ache, trust fraying, because freedom lit his fuse. That past thickened. 2023, another girl, pregnant, 20, Hiawatha, McKinley's shadow splitting two ways. I've traced lives tangled like his, jealousy a blade, and this one cut deep. Melody might have been pregnant too, prosecutors would say. Autopsy, hinting, HCG, maybe a miscarriage days before. I can see him, January 31st, pacing, texting her. We need to talk, her dodging, him raging. You don't walk away. I feel that heat, control slipping, because 2 pregnancies, 1 ex, lit, a fire he couldn't douse. Dakota Van Patten, 18, his friend, fanned it. Wild, loyal, let's fix this, he'd said, machetes in mind. I've walked where anger festers, felt it turn lethal, and Louisma's did, February 17th planned cold. He hated losing her, a cousin told the Gazette, talked about teaching her a lesson. I can hear him, plotting with Van Patten, Walmart run, 4:32 p.m. Gloves, blades, paracord in his cart, her trust, his bait. She'd loved him, 20, pure, maybe carried his child, lost it, and he twisted that pain into sinister, prosecutors call it. I feel her, Melody, blind to his dark biking to Morgan Creek 8:15 p.m. while his shadow loomed, ready to strangle her light for good. That spark, Melody's glow, fed his rage, her trust his weapon, her end his goal. I've seen pasts like his, bruises, control, a boy-turned-man who'd rather kill than lose. Depraved, the state'd say, 9 stabs to seal it, her body dumped at Lily Lake. I can see Lisa, sobbing, why her? As Louisma's shadow stretched back, 2019 to 24, a trail of hurt Melody never saw. I feel that pain, rules lens on love's cost, because her light didn't just die. It was crushed by a darkness she'd lit herself. His shadows cleared her fate, and the truth was closing in. Courtrooms don't heal. They weigh, cold and hard, what's left of a life. On November 4th, 2024, Lynn County's did. 9 months after McKinley Louisma snuffed Melody Hoffman's light. 20, with cord and blades in a frozen Iowa night. I've sat in trials where pain meets proof. Felt the air tighten, and this one did. Fast. He stood, 23, lean, eyes flat, facing first-degree murder, kidnapping, conspiracy, life without parole if the jury saw the monster she hadn't. Sinister, the state called it. Coerced, he'd claim. This is where Melody's trust hit the scales, and her echo demanded he pay. Picture Cedar Rapids, courthouse, 9:02 a.m., November. Chill seeping through glass, jurors shuffling in. Louisma sat, orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed. His mom, Marie, in the back, head bowed. Melody's mom, Lisa, front row, eyes red. I can see the state's lead, Ada Tom Walsh, 50s, gravel voice, standing. McKinley Louisma planned it, lured her, bound her, killed her. I've heard openings cut deep, and Walsh's did, flashing photos. Melody's body, snow red, 9 stabs glaring. Depraved, he said, machetes bought, gloves worn, her trust his weapon. I feel that weight, her light crushed, landing heavy on 12 silent faces. I think about Walsh's case, iron, sharp, built on that night. February 17th, he rolled, 4:32 p.m., Walmart, machetes, gloves, cash. I can hear him, receipt waved, video stills up, Louisma, Van Patten, carts full. 8:15 p.m., Morgan Creek, her watch spikes, 160, then flat. Apple data glared, 9:27 p.m., Lily Lake, her end. He strangled her, Walsh pressed. Paracord, his hands, Van Patten slashed after. I've seen juries flinch, some did. Hyundai tracks, blood flecks, his lies decline. I didn't do it. Premeditated, Walsh thundered. He deserves life. I feel Melody there, 20, gone, her trust a noose he'd tied. Then the defense, Ellen Carter, 40s, soft eyes, firm voice, stood for Louisma. I've watched lawyers grasp straws, seen them plead, and she did. McKinley didn't want this, she said. Dakota Van Patten pushed him, 18, wild, the machete man. I can hear her, calm, urgent, showing texts. Van Patten, February 16th. She's a problem, let's end it. He went along, Carter urged, scared, coerced, not the killer. I've felt defenses bend truth, and this stretched. No DNA on blades, but his car, his cord, his call to Melody. Second degree, she begged, not life. I feel that plea, thin against Walsh's iron. I've traced trials where stories clash, felt them twist, and this one knotted tight. Walsh called Lisa, sobbing. She trusted him, her voice breaking jurors' stares. He hated losing her, a friend testified, raged when she left. I can see Melody's texts, January. I'm done. His reply, you'll see. Motive burned, pregnancy, hers or another's, a spark he'd kill to douse. Carter fought, Louisma on stand. I didn't strangle her, voice low, Dakota did. I've heard lies crack, and his wobbled Walsh pouncing. Your car, your plan, 9 stabs, say you. I feel her, Melody, hanging there, trust a blade he'd turned. That room pulsed, Walsh's depraved versus Carter's coerced. Melody's light the fault line. I've felt trials tip, scales groaning, and this one creaked. Jurors scribbled, some glared, some softened. 9 stabs a drumbeat, her watch a clock no one could unwind. Life or less? Walsh closed, voice, steel. He took hers, give him his. Carter countered soft, he's not the monster, spare him. I can see Lisa, hands clasped, breath held, 9 months of pain riding on 12 votes. Her echo rang, trust snuffed, and justice leaned close. The scales hung there, and her killer's fate was next. Verdicts don't mend, they mark, carving lines no one can cross back. On November 14th, 2024, one did for McKinley Lewisma, 23, the boy who'd snuffed Melody Hoffman's light 9 months earlier, her trust his blade in a frozen Iowa dark. I felt judgments fall, seen them crush or free, and this one loomed large. First-degree murder, kidnapping, conspiracy, life without parole stared him down, a jury's call on a sinister end. Melody's echo filled that room, 20, gone, demanding he pay for her spark. This is where her killer met his end. Not in snow, but in chains. Picture Lynn County Courthouse, 10:03 a.m., November gray pressing the glass, jurors filing in after 6 days' debate. Lewisma stood, orange jumpsuit, lean frame stiff, his mom, Marie, clutching a tissue, Melody's mom, Lisa, front row, hands clasped. I can see it. ADA, Tom Walsh, jaw tight, waiting. Ellen Carter, his lawyer, pale, praying. The foreman rose, 60s, voice steady. We the jury find, and I felt that hush, air choking, before it broke. Guilty, all counts. I hear it hit, gasps, a wail, Lucima's head dropping, Carter's hand on his arm. 9 stabs, 1 truth. He'd never walk free. I think about that call, guilty, ringing loud, Melody's light avenged in 2 hours flat, jurors unmoved by coerced. I can hear Walsh exhale, victory hard won, telling KCRG later. Justice for her, he planned it, he did it. Photos burned them in, her body, snow red, watch, flat at 9:27 p.m., 9 wounds, his Hyundai, his lies decline. I didn't kill her. Depraved, they agreed. First degree, no doubt. I've seen juries lock, nods firm, and this one did, seeing a monster, not a pawn, a boy, who'd lured her to Morgan Creek and choked her cold. I feel her, Melody, there, trust's cost paid in his life sentence. The room erupted, half relief, half rage, as Judge Kevin McKeever banged, life, no parole, murder 1, kidnapping, conspiracy. I've watched sentences land, felt them shift air, and this one sank deep. Lewisma slumped, eyes blank, cuffs clinking as deputies flanked him, Marie's cry, cutting sharp, "My boy!" I can see Lisa, tears streaming, nodding slow, whispering, "For you, Mel." 9 months of pain cracked open, her girl gone, his freedom too. He deserves it, she told CBS 2 Iowa, voice raw. He took her from me. I feel that stab, rules justice bittersweet, because guilty didn't bring Melody back, just buried him instead. I've sat where families break, felt a verdict's weight, and this one crushed. Planned it, jurors told the Gazette. Machetes, gloves, her trust didn't save her, it killed her. I can hear Carter, soft, to Mike's. He's not all bad, Dakota pushed him, but 9 stabs drowned her. Watch, data, tire tracks, his call to talk. No mercy, Walsh countered. He strangled her, staged her, life fits. I see Lewisma, led out, 10:47 a.m., head down, Melody's ghost in his wake, Lisa's eyes burning through. I've known ends like this, pain's echo loud, and hers rang, a killer judged, a mother left hollow. That gavel sealed it, Lucima's life for hers, a shadow locked tight. I've seen justice settle, dust on a wound, and this one bled still. Guilty gave Lisa breath, Marie, loss, Melody's cat, Muffin, waiting for a girl who'd never bike home. I can hear those 9 stabs, echoes, bouncing, as he faced a cell, no parole. Her trust, his ruin. He ruined her, Lisa said. Now he's done. I feel that close. Rules lens on judgment's edge, because the end came fast. But the pain stayed slow. His end was hers, but the echoes carried on. Justice can cage a killer, but it can't warm what's lost. On November 14th, 2024, McKinley Lewisma's life locked shut. 23, guilty of snuffing Melody Hoffman's light. 29 months earlier in Iowa's frozen dark. I've seen verdicts settle, felt them leave shadows, and this one did, heavy. He'd lured her, bound her, ended her trust his trap, and now he'd never walk free, life without parole his mirror to her grave. But for those she'd lit, her mom, her town, Melody stayed cold. This is where her echo rests, where trust's cost lingers long. Picture Marion, late November 2024, snow falling soft again, 10th Street quiet without her bike. Lisa Hoffman sat there, apartment empty, muffin purring alone, Melody's scarf still on the couch, blonde hairs caught in its knit. I can see her, 50s, eyes hollow, telling the Gazette, he's gone, but she's not back. I've felt that void, justice's half win, and hers ached deep. Louisma in a cell, life stripped, yet her girl's laugh stayed silent, her Hy-Vee apron folded forever. Guilty healed nothing, she said, just stopped him. I hear that, rules truth, because a sentence doesn't stitch a heart. I think about her friends, Hy-Vee crew, 20s, huddled at Lily Lake, February 18th, 2025, a year since she'd lain there, snow red. Melody'd hate this, one told KCRG, us crying, him rotting. I can see it, flowers frozen, a photo of her grinning, trusting a boy who'd planned her end. Walmart blades, Morgan Creek cord, 9 stabs to seal it. Louisma's mom, Marie, broke too, Hiawatha duplex dark. He was my baby, she wept, losing him to bars. I've known grief split like that, killer and killed. And here, it left 2 mothers cold. Melodies light their shared scar. I've watched echoes fade, felt them cling, and melodies did, a trust too pure for this world. Louisma's life sentence, November 14th, upheld, no appeal, shut his shadow tight. Dakota Van Patten's trial looming March 25. Logan Kimpton's plea still gray. I can hear Lisa, soft, to her girl's photo. You're free now, he's not. But free didn't warm her, 20, biking, singing, gone. Nor Marion, quieter without her spark. If her story grips you, if her trust, his ruin, this end stays, share it. Subscribe for more, because some lights burn too bright to forget, even when they're cold. Her echo dims, but her cold stays with us.